welcome to Chris Cook for You Too. Today I'm going to be doing something that's real special, but I'm going to be doing it in the crock pot. And I know a lot of people have asked me about crock pot cooking, and normally I don't cook that way. I just do stove cooking. But am I familiar with it? Yes, I am, and I will do it. You know, sometimes when I just don't want to be in the kitchen and I want the dish to be very low maintenance. So let's get started. Here I have a pork shoulder. Back in the day it was called pork shoulder, pork loin. But this is what you would use in order to make your pulled pork. Now a lot of people use a lot of different types of meat, but this is primarily what you use in order to make your pulled pork. Now this is normally not expensive. I think this was more expensive because it's a Smithfield product, and this cost me $10. But look at all of the meat that's actually on there, and you do have fat inside of it, but I wouldn't worry about those strips of fat because they act as tenderizer, and then when we get ready to pull the pork, we'll actually be taking out that fat as well. So these pork shoulders, normally if you're getting just a store brand pork shoulder, it may cost you $5-6 in the grocery store, and it'll be enough for maybe 10-12 sandwiches if you get it like that in the grocery store. Now the things that we're going to need, the ingredients that we're going to need in order to assist us in the cooking today is going to be a Dr. Pepper, yes, a Dr. Pepper soda, your favorite brand of barbecue sauce. I love Sweet Baby Ray's, so I'm using Sweet Baby Ray's, some seasonal, 1 onion, and I do have liquid smoke and Worcestershire sauce, but these two are optional. You really don't need to use that. The only 2 ingredients that you really need to make certain that you have is your seasonal and your Dr. Pepper. As long as you have them, this dish should come out well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step away. I'm going to wash this down and prepare it for the slow cooker. So I'll meet you at the other side of the sink. Okay, now we're back. We're at the sink and we're getting ready to prepare this pork shoulder, as I call it. Okay, here you can see the big hunk of meat. I've already washed it. Okay, so now I'm going to add my seasonings to it. Like I told you, the first 2 seasonings are going to be optional. That's going to be my liquid smoke, and I'm going to put a little bit in the bottom of my slow cooker, and that's going to be my Worcestershire sauce or Worcestershire sauce. Okay, put a little bit of that in the bottom, and now I'm going to cover this with my seasonal. And you know that I use more than seasonal, and the reason for that is because I don't want the high content of salt that's in Lawry's. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of this in the bottom. Now why am I sprinkling a little bit of this in the bottom? Because I'm just going to sit this roast down over in. First I'm going to put a little bit of the onions, and I'm going to sit this down over in my pot. Just washing my hands off a little bit. Just add a little bit more of the seasonal. Put my onions in. Okay. And now I'm going to pour in my this is a 20-ounce bottle of Dr. Pepper. And I'm pouring this all around the sides. Okay, now remember, I had some onions that I put up underneath the bottom of my roast. So my roast is not solidly down in the touching the bottom of this pan. I got some onions that have it elevated just a little bit. Now, this is going to cook for the next 6 hours in this slow cooker. Okay, I have my slow cooker on low. I'm going to put the top on it. I'm going to allow that to cook for 6 hours, and I'm going to come back one time just to show you where we are in the cooking process. Now, I also have here some shredded coleslaw, and this is the way you buy it in the package in the store. Okay, this is shredded coleslaw, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make my coleslaw that's going to go on the top of my pulled pork sandwiches for those who want it, or the ones that don't want it, they don't have to put it on there. Now, here I have 2 tablespoons of mayo. I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of white vinegar, 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. I'm going to stir that. Just until it dissolves. And this gives you that nice pickly flavor that you look for in your coleslaw. I'm spilling some. Okay. So that's stirred. So I'm going to add this. As you can see, it's creamy. Okay. I'm going to add this to my coleslaw. I'll stir that just a little bit. And I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of mayo to this. I'm going to stir that in to make it creamy. Now, I want this to have marinated with the flavors by the time my roast gets done. So that's why I'm doing it now. Now, they do sell this coleslaw in the store with a package. It's called a coleslaw kit, and it has a package of the seasonings that I just showed you how to make. It has that inside of the shredded coleslaw. So if that's what you prefer to buy, you can. I always say my containers. This is my Cool Whip container, but I save it and I use it for storage. So I'm going to pour this in. This is ready. Clean up my work area. I'm going to put the top on this, and I'm going to let this marinate for the 6 hours that it's going to take for this pot to get complete. So what I'll do is I'll put this in the refrigerator, I'll go away, and I'll come back halfway during the cooking process. Now with that, I told you that I would come back halfway through the cooking process, and the only thing I want to do is just to flip this meat over. So I'm going to flip it over in the pot and allow it to finish cooking. And when it finishes, then we're going to take all of this excess fat off of it, and then we will shred it. So I'll be right back. I've taken the pork shoulder out of the crock pot. It is now completed, and what I'm going to do is to take off the layer of fat. I have it turned upside down so that I can easily skim off that layer of fat that's on the top of it. And then once I get that skimmed off, then I'm going to go back and just pull shredded. And that's why it's called pulled pork, because all you're doing is just pulling it apart, shredding it that way. You can shred it with the mixer, and I do have my mixer sitting off to the side that I can use it just to get it a little bit finer than my actually shreds with the fork. But then once you do that, you don't want to take it down too far. So I'll show you the whole process. But right now, for the sake of time, I'm just going to take off a piece of the pork shoulder and place it down. And as you can see, this is cooked to the point where as it's pull apart, you can pull it apart, see? And I'm just going to shred it by pulling it apart with 2 forks. Okay, that's all you do. And I found that it's easier to do with 2 forks for me. So that's all I'm going to be doing. Anywhere there is fat, I won't use that fat. I'll discard it. But I'll just pull these pieces apart. Okay? And once I get this pulled apart, then I'm just going to take it and put it into my bowl so that I can add the sauce to it. Now, I'll do just a little bit more right here where I took some of the fat from. I'll just do that little portion. Okay, there's fat on the end, and this is tender enough where I can just pull this fat off with the fork. Once I get the fat pulled off, then I'm just going to shred it. Okay, I'm going to just pull it apart. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. That's a piece of fat. I'll discard the fat and just pull the pork from the fat. And the fat is visible. You can see it, so that you won't really have to worry about. You'll be able to take the meat off without actually pulling or taking the fat portion of it. So here all I have is just meat, see? Now, if this meat is too long and stringy for me, then I can just take my knife and I can cut it across one time, okay? And then take it, and I'll just put this into my bowl as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all of the fat off of this portion of the roast, which is not a lot of fat. It's just one little layer across the bottom. I'm going to take that fat off, and then I'm going to finish shredding this shoulder. Once I get it shredded, I'm going to come back and then I'll show you the next step. But as you can see, look, if I just pull it, that's all meat. Okay? So I'll be right back. Good tender meat. All of the meat is tender. So I'm just going to pull it apart and I'll be right back. I've shredded all of the pork. As you can see, I've pulled this pork loose, but I still have a few pieces in here that I didn't totally pull loose. So what I'm going to do, like that piece right there, see? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my Baby Ray barbecue sauce, and this is the best complement to a pulled pork sandwich. This is not your Carolina barbecue where you get that vinegar base. This is your sweet barbecue sauce, okay? And this is sweet pulled pork. So I'm going to add some of the sauce, and I'm going to take my mixer and I'm going to take it down just a little bit. Now you can take this as low as you want. You can shred it, leave it to this point, and just mix it with your spoon, okay? And you can let that work for you, or you can take it down a little bit. And the best way to take it down is with your mixer, because that'll take it all the way to mince if that's what you want. But I don't want that. I just want to stir in this barbecue sauce and pull it apart a little bit. So let me do it. Okay. I'm going to add some more of the barbecue sauce. And I got quite a bit of pork. So we're going to say that's about probably 2 cups. Maybe not, maybe a cup and a half. Okay. Now, I don't want it shredded or loose any more than that. So the rest of the way, get it off of my blenders. Oops, see a little bit on the side, I'll get that. Okay. Set that over to the side. Put that pork back in there. And I'm going to add just a little bit more of my barbecue sauce. And it's all up to your discretion what you think your family will like. That depends on how much of the sauce you would add. But you don't need to do anything to this. Everything that you need to do is already done. And that Dr. Pepper, try it. That's the best thing you can use. Some people use Pepsi. Some people use root beer. Other people use Dr. Pepper. I prefer Dr. Pepper. Okay, this is made. And I'm going to sit back down and I'm going to make 2 sandwiches here just to show you. Here I have my buns. And I'm going to add some pork on this one. And like I said, if you want more barbecue sauce, you can put more barbecue sauce in it. This is enough. That's kind of healthy. Okay. Now we have 2 of the sandwiches. And on one of these sandwiches, I'm going to add, remember we made the coleslaw. So I'm going to add the coleslaw on one sandwich. And see how creamy it is? Okay. So I'm going to put a little coleslaw on top of this. On one. And on the other, I'm just going to leave it like it is. I'm going to cover it. Just enough for you to see it. There you have it. If you want to serve it with some, well, I can cover this one. If you want to serve it with some French fries or some potato chips, that's the perfect dish. This pulled pork came out very well, and I'm extremely proud. I've tasted it, and it's very, very good. So try it. I think you're going to like it, and try it with the Dr. Pepper. And as always, thank you for watching Chris Cook for YouTube. Bye.